July 5th, the world celebrated. Communities around the world came together to celebrate the International Day of Cooperative, as they call it, COPS Day. And of course, under the inspiring team, Cooperative, deriving inclusive and sustainable solution for a better world. This report spotlights the vital role of cooperatives in creating fairer and more resilient societies.
Cooperatives in Nigeria are increasingly being recognized as powerful platforms for addressing societal issues, particularly poverty, unemployment, and limited access to financial services. Experts say by fostering collective action and resource pooling, cooperatives offer members significant benefits, such as access to loans at lower interest rates than those offered by informal money lenders. Despite their potential, many cooperatives struggle with challenges, chief among them being the difficulty in securing adequate funding for their operations and expansion.
Oversight functions are underfunded, and because of this underfunding, this personnel cannot go to the hinterlands to monitor what is happening at the cooperative society level. It is very important to note here that the cooperative has been a source of empowerment for members, staff of staff of institutions and organizations, and of course our rural farmers. The cooperative has been a way these persons have been empowered, and if it is properly monitored, if it is properly funded, or if it is given the opportunity to access funds and of course materials, implements, it's still going to further boost their economic power.
The cooperative societies are supposed to be the closest financial institutions to the people. Because the commercial banks are not available everywhere, especially in the rural areas. So cooperative organizations are the closest financial institutions to the people at the grassroots. So it's also a method of trying to achieve financial inclusion, because if you allow them from the villages to come to the town, some of them may not be able to come, and the process of accessing these funds at the commercial bank level might be too cumbersome for them. The requirements they may not also have. So, but with the cooperatives, it's easy for them to access these funds, access inputs. Of course, it's not just monies. It can also come in form, the assistance can also come in form of inputs. That's why I call it resources. So they'll be able to access resources easily and at their doorstep.
While acknowledging the role of government in supporting cooperative societies, stakeholders also highlight key bottlenecks such as underfunding, lack of monitoring, and inadequate training, factors that continue to hinder the effectiveness of cooperatives nationwide.
Access to affordable finance is one of the challenges cooperatives face in Nigeria. Of course, government institutions like Bank of Industry and the central bank claims that they are helping the cooperatives, but it's only a fraction of this fund that comes. For instance, in our rural areas, the cooperatives there have been cut off completely from the activities, all the knowledge, all the innovations that cooperatives should begin to enjoy. They have been cut off from it because of, one, the location and inaccessibility by cooperative monitors to access them.
Yes, there are interventions that are there on the pages of newspaper, in the media. Government has approved this and that intervention at a particular interest rate, which is usually low as far as it's coming from the government. The problem has always been assessing these interventions. What can cooperatives on their own do? To what extent will they be able to help their members? That is why we need the intervention of the government, for government to inject help, to inject money into these cooperatives, because the cooperatives at their own level are trying, but the monies that they are able to gather among members is just very minimal, and that cannot be able to solve their problem. And that is why I talked earlier about government making these interventions, not just pronouncing them, but making these interventions accessible. Because if more cooperatives are able to access interventions from the government, it means that more people will have access to these monies, more people will have access to these resources.
Given the importance of cooperatives to the economic empowerment of citizens, there are growing calls for the government to increase financial support through grants, subsidized loan and loan guarantees. Additionally, offering technical assistance and organizing regular capacity building training for cooperative members could significantly enhance their efficiency and impact.
Interesting report there with regards to, of course, the role that cooperatives should play, and of course some of the challenges being highlighted there in that report. I'm now being joined in the studio by Emmanuel Atama. He's the Executive Secretary, CEO, National Cooperative Financing Agency of Nigeria. Glad to have you again on Trust TV.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. You listened to that report there. A lot of issues were indeed highlighted. You may want to respond to that.
Yes, I think those who spoke at that interview, they are actually hitting the points, because all they said is exactly what is happening to cooperatives in Nigeria. Issue of funding. The last time I came here, I said it that cooperatives do not start with issue of funding. It first of all starts with organizing itself, structuring itself, and then them themselves buy into the shares, raise money, and continue to save and start lending to themselves. So that once they have a gap and they are going out there to look for money, they can always have the baseline necessary to access funds, because those who want to fund you want to know whether you have the capacity to manage funds. And then, but the problem we have is that the funds that are coming from outside is always a mismatch. A mismatch in the sense that, one, the conditions are unachievable, as if it is deliberate, that let's set this condition, let them not get this money. Whereas within the cooperative, the members get their loan through cross-guarantee. Just get one or two persons that in the cooperative that can guarantee the exposure your loan is going to create. And then you get your money without any hitch. But when you go out there to look for money, all manner of conditions arise which are unachievable to the common men and women. So that is the bottom line. But in terms of disconnect, in this modern era that we are doing technology, we have unhindered access to our people, except that some cooperatives, as soon as they are set up, ordinarily they are not supposed to stay on their own. They are supposed to affiliate. This broadcast station is not staying on its own. It belongs to the organization of broadcasters, okay? But some cooperatives refuse to affiliate, and they are feeling.
What could be the reason for that?
For the fact that maybe some of them may not know, and some of them may deliberately do not want to affiliate, especially those who are set up basically to be looking for money. Once they are set up, no savings of their own, no activities of their own, all they do is to go out and say, we need money. So these are the kind of cooperatives that have challenges of that nature. But to solve the issue of the funding, because I said the one coming from outside is always a mismatch, because the type of funding that is good for us are the type that are given by the central bank, by the Federal Mortgage Bank, and some other development finance institutions that are mostly within the single digits, maybe between 6%, 5%. Then we can also lend to our people within that single digit, maybe top up 2 or 3% to cover administrative costs. But when we are seeing something within 28 to 34% now within the commercial world, you see that it's actually a mismatch to what we have. So what we did was to set up the Cooperative Development Fund, which has been set up and is currently running. And how we intend to do it is that each cooperative member will make a contribution minimum of 1,000 naira every month. And we have over 30 million cooperative members in Nigeria. So in a month where we get 1,000 from these 30 million people.
Verified members.
Verified members. Verified. Then you discover that we have 30 billion. And if consistently we are getting that kind of money, where do we need to go out and look for money? And if it is there that them funds are coming regularly, then also institutions will be willing to lend to us, because they see that we have a history of collections.
Indeed, that's quite impressive. But there's one thing that was also pointed out in that report was the fact that reaching some cooperatives in the local communities, that many of them are not exposed to the modern knowledge. What would you say to that?
Reaching cooperatives is not a problem, because the same way the cooperative reach out to the authorities, the Department of Cooperatives that set them up, the same way the Department of Cooperative also reach them. Because cooperatives are grassroots in the sense that each cooperative is set up in a ward. And from that ward level, it reach out to wherever it wants to reach out to. So what we have done is that we have cooperative apex bodies in all the states of the Federation. And we are hooked to them. Except that some of them, some people are not open up to innovation. And you can take the horse to the river, but you cannot force the horse
to drink water.
To drink. Ab initio, we were trying to work basically with the apex bodies. But when we discovered that some state apex bodies are not yielding to modern way of doing things, we start relating directly to primary societies that are willing to connect with us. And that is how we've been able to reach them. And that is why we have a broadcast, such that once we put information on that broadcast, they get it the moment we put it, and they hook up. So if there is going to be a meeting, they hook up immediately. Like yesterday, there was a meeting at the International Cooperative Alliance level, global, and the link was shared across the world, and people were able to hook up. So in terms of that, it depends on the willingness and the disposition of those who are leading at that particular level.
Indeed, that's quite impressive. A lot of public awareness is also being created, I guess, as well.
Very well. You can see that within the span of 1 week or two, I'm back here again. Okay? For the past 1 or 2 weeks, it has been all over the media. So we are also creating a media platform for the purpose of visibility, to make sure that both radio, television, social media, we are covered.
All right. That's quite impressive. But let's see how do we have more like deliver inclusive solution, a situation whereby you have multiple members requesting for loan at the same time and the money is not readily available. How do you address that?
Cooperatives have gone beyond the traditional level of savings and loan. So that is why we domesticated the National Financial Inclusion Strategy as Cooperative Inclusive Strategy. And we have 7 items within this inclusive strategy, ranging from access to finance, which is the loan they talk about, access to pension, health care, capital market products, education finance, housing, and renewable energy. So these items I have mentioned, they have become inclusive products. So when they are getting it, they get it on the basis of inclusion, in the sense that somebody in the village who have no access to finance, and then the person is in need of energy, light, to do his or her business, and then you give that person a product, a renewable energy product, and the person start paying, and the person is lifted to the credit bureau. The person is already featuring there. It's already on the financial highway. So we look at it that from these different products, these form their basic needs. So when they are captured there, we are bringing them on board the inclusive framework. Okay? So, and then most at time, when people come to take loan from cooperative and you ask them, what do you want to use the money for? Some of them will just tell you bluntly, is it your business? So some of them will just write personal. You know, so it is difficult for you to know what they're actually using it for. But when we put them into these various products, as they come for those products, we'll be able to assign it to a particular item. And then when we are doing our review, we'll be able to know how many people were attended to health-wise, how many people are attended to housing and all those inclusive products. So that is our strategy.
That's interesting. I'm particularly interested about the capital market products. So how do you educate your members in that regard?
Yes. Interestingly, when I was the chairman of the product working group for financial inclusion in Central Bank, one of our major core item is capital market products. So I work closely with the Security and Exchange Commission.
Yes, SEC.
And before I exited that position, the SEC was able to develop two instruments around collective investment and crowdfunding. So what we do now is that we encourage our people, if individually you cannot go to access capital market product, but through your contribution, you can go to the capital market as a cooperative and access products for yourself. So that is why even the cooperative development fund today that we have set up is managed by a capital market operator, the Sterling Capital. And we are also working towards making sure that we register our presence in the capital market, because that is where you can get long-term finance for our people, and to make sure that cooperative come out of that that environment of not being seen to become focal and visible.
Indeed, also a very good one there. What about the leadership of some of these cooperatives? A lot of people have complained about how leadership mismanaged funds being contributed by cooperatives.
Yes. Recently, we embarked on what we call cooperative good governance training. Every year, we have not less than 3 to 4. To say, every quarter, we have one conference or the other. And these conference, summit, workshops are dedicated to bring out the best within the leadership. Like in the month of May, we had a regulatory and compliance conference, which address some of these issues. Because some of them, I think, is ignorance that is responsible for some of their inaction or action that adversely affected the cooperative. Because apart from the leadership also not doing well, the membership sometimes also don't do well, because you see some members of cooperative, you call for cooperative meeting where they are supposed to go, they will tell you that so long as they can get loan, they don't care. And then when you don't go and the leadership discover that you are not interested in coming around to ask questions, they do whatever they want to do. So you see that the thing is both ways. But what we are doing now is that we are providing governance training for the leadership, and we are also sensitizing the members, because within the principles of cooperative, one of the principles talk about continuous member education and information. So we are lashing on that principle to make sure that we provide continuous education for our members.
Interesting there. But let's, as we wrap up the conversation now, I want to know whether we have effective cooperatives in Nigeria, shows that citizens can effectively improve their own lives by, through their own contributions, and of course, contribute to economic growth and of course, development as well.
We have. Cooperative is everywhere now, and they are very effective. I mentioned here the other time that if you take cooperative out of the public service, out of the MDAs, there's going to be problem. That when you go to the Federal Secretariat today, when you go to the car park, out of 10 cars that are parked, I bet you 7 of them are bought through cooperative. If you go around Masaka, Nyanya, Mararaba, Kubwa, Biaji, and all those areas, those houses built by civil servants, the funds they get are actually through cooperative to do it. So cooperative is effective. It's even putting food on the table of the citizens now through cooperative loan, food loan. Okay, so they are working, and they are working very well. And right now, just like one of the persons you interview during your documentary said, cooperative supposed to act as a bank is supposed to be the closest financial institution to the people. And that is why right now, what we are working on is what we call the front office service activity, so that your cooperative will have office, no matter how small it is. You can cash in and cash out there. You can do all your activities. So recently, last week, Wednesday precisely, we had the symposium to mark the International Day of Cooperatives, and we launched a cooperative wallet called Aquila. So that wallet enables you to do banking transactions, because those wallets are bank enabled. And we draw inference from Kenya. Kenya have what they call M-Pesa. So
Nigeria seems to have one of the most effective cooperatives in Africa.
Yes, they have M-Pesa, which is doing that function for them. And then here in Nigeria, we now have Aquila, that is also doing a similar thing for us. And through that, we are moving towards becoming part and parcel of the banking sector in Nigeria. And what do we want to achieve? Setting up of the Cooperative Development Bank. Once that is in place now, you can see that all cooperatives will want to bank with the bank, because we are going to operate on the principle of affordable financing.
Indeed, that's the best way to round it up, and we hope that a dam bank come in place as soon as possible, so that a lot of cooperatives can queue in there. Thank you so much, Emmanuel Atama, Executive Secretary, CEO, National Cooperative Financing Agency of Nigeria. We appreciate your contributions on Business Daily today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so
much.
much.
It's my pleasure.
Yeah, with that, it's a wrap on the show today. We'll be back again tomorrow. I am Yusuf Akogu.